especially in the winter, sometimes I go, why is it so dark in here? Oh, maybe I should turn on some lights.
Maybe.
Lights are good.
Lights are good. Welcome to the Great Northern Sex Cast.
I looked over. I'm like,
Megan always can tell.
We're on.
I know. It's kind of our thing.
Yeah.
I have more people say that. Well, it came up in a conversation about Game of Thrones, which I know you think you don't watch because it's horribly violent. I got to tell you, even though the last episode, I got so many things that I wanted out of it. There's so many things where I couldn't watch.
So good.
I had to tell Carl to tell me when certain things were over because it was overwhelmingly violent. I mean, right, Meg?
No, I think we have a much different
Oh,
bar.
okay.
Violence.
I mean,
I would say.
And I don't even have a bar for. I'm like, no, that's enough. I'm pretty sure it was the second or third episode where they were like burning fire through someone's chest years ago. Where I said, that's it. I don't need to watch this. No.
You would not have liked the battle scene.
No.
But I must say that Ramsay Bolton's fate made me very happy. I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
And hells yeah, that was. I can't wait for
I
next
love
week.
this season is so like girl power, and
It really
love
is.
it.
It really is.
I love it.
But what I was where I was going with this is the theme song. It's neat, and the graphics are fantastic, and all that kind of stuff. But we don't need 5 fucking minutes. I'd rather have 5 more minutes of the show. And so that's why here at the Great Northern Sex Cast, we get right fucking into it. That's what we do here. Yeah.
Have you heard? I like my version of the theme song.
Oh no,
where it's boobs and dragons, because that's pretty much the whole
some
show.
male full frontal boobs and dragons.
And a little bit of penis. Yes. Actually, we saw a little bit of bison penis on our trip.
Oh, really?
We were going through.
Do tell.
Theodore Roosevelt Parkway, and the bison are right next to the roadway. It's right next on the right side of the road. And I'm thinking, I don't want my car to be that close to a bison that's almost as large as my car, and I drive a Santa Fe. So I pull over to the left side, and we're taking pictures. And I'm going through the pictures later, and I'm like, look, bison penis.
Really? Was somebody showing weenie?
Yeah. We said that the bison was peeing, which is pretty much what happens when I go anywhere. I don't care whether it's like out in nature or a zoo or an aquarium or whatever it is. We will find animals pooping or peeing. I have a lovely picture from our last trip there of a baby bison pooping.
Awesome.
Yeah, we just giggle, but it was
enjoy the go.
Yeah. They are, and they're the great outdoors. I mean, if you have an entire, national park to poop in, why not?
Yeah, I mean, so that big burning question about bears really isn't one.
Yeah.
No.
Should be do bison poop in the woods. Yes, they do, and Colleen gets it on camera.
Or do bison pop boners. More to the point.
Yes.
Guys, what a week. We're coming into Pride. And everybody's got big plans. You were saying just before we turned on the mics today, Colleen, that this is like really Christmas almost for you guys.
Well, it's the same thing. Everyone's like excited. Everyone, they're happy. They're doing a good time. It's a big party, but it's also a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because we're setting up a pop-up store. And it's going to be twice as big, so there's more room to move around. A lot of vendors sent special merchandise. A lot of vendors sent prizes for the prize wheel. Love the prize wheel. Justin, our rep from one of our from ECN, is going to be there. And he puts on his shorty shorts. He puts on his little leather harness, and he is one of the best carnival barker prize spinny wheel dudes that has ever existed.
Oh,
and you want to get to the booth early because we have prizes for both days. But once we were done with the prizes on Saturday, we do not dip into the Sunday prize bin.
Okay. Which is fair. That's fair. I agree with that decision.
And we're just like, and the fun part's going to be is that, like I said, we're putting up a double-sized booth, and and we know exactly what we want to do in theory, but you never know because there's these 3 trees, and they were tiny, and each year they keep growing bigger.
Oh, geez.
So we're going to see if we can cram these tents in, and but it'll all work out. And it's also supposed to be pretty warm, so I'll probably be making about 1,000 trips back and forth to get ice and water and stuff like that, and have to put together the porta potty bag because they always run out of toilet paper.
Yep.
And so then we have to steal bring our own toilet paper. And then Pepper's like, why are they leaving with the toilet paper? Like, leave it in the bag. Leave it in the bag.
Oh, right. So you don't get
no evidence. Gonna get jumped on the way back.
Oh my God. And the coughing you hear in the background is there are afflicted people in the room, but
We'll all deal with it.
I don't know how I'm managing to stay so healthy.
Because you have the sinuses that I do. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know though. You guys are carrier monkeys.
There is just this summer cold this year has been, I think, of the draconian variety. I know so many people that have been on their butts for the last few weeks lately. It's a tough year for that, but hopefully everybody will feel better for this weekend. I'm really excited about this weekend. I'm going to try. I do a live conventional radio show on Saturdays, and I'm going to see if I can't sneak down to the booth just to see it and whatever. And then I'm going to come down just for play only with all of my gay friends that have really thrown some interesting threats to me if I don't make it this weekend for brunch. So I can't wait. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, if there's brunch to make, I would say it's the brunch on Pride weekend. I mean, that's when the to brunch.
What's so fun about the 90s, though, and we've experienced this on the times where we've gone and done shows there, Colleen, I love the crowd there because it's not just gays or even one exclusive age group. It is like all over, and it's so much fun because
No, that's what this weekend is about, is just watching everyone, because you're just so. I mean, just it's sad. You've got families and singles and couples and groups and all ages and people coming in from all definitely from the 5-state area. People that have moved away fly back in for this weekend. Yep. It's reunion time. It's always just a ton of fun.
And there has to be some sort of a layer of solidarity after the tragedy in Orlando as well. I'm sure that's coloring part of it too.
All I've heard is that nothing's stopping us. We're going out. It never occurred to me to not.
Me neither.
Not to go out and stuff like that. And it's a frustrating and it's a sad and horrible thing. And I don't know what it's going to take this country to figure things out. But I think the general consensus is that you keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why Pride is so wonderful, because it's a great mix where it's a place for supporters and allies, or people who just want to have a fun time to hang out. But at the core of it is also this really important aspect of celebrating the history and struggle it took to get to where we are,
right? To where you can put electrical tape on your genitals and stroll around.
Right. I mean, imagine that. People back in Stonewall being beaten up by cops just for being gay. Imagining that, in 2016, there could be the Pride Parade and someone could be, with electrical tape, or the naked dudes in the barrel, or the puppies in their cages all weekend,
Something as simple as, I don't know, getting married.
Exactly. Something as simple and beautiful as that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing.
Well, we all look forward to it, and we hope as many of our Great Northern Sex Cast podcast friends will join us and come and identify yourself and say hi.
Yes.
Look for Michael, Liz, Megan, Colleen. I will be in and out, but come and say hi and shake our hands. We'd love to see you there. Guys, the news this week was really interesting. I found a lot of really kind of long-form discussion-y stuff this week, but then I found some let's just talk about Dudeoir for a minute. Have you heard of Dudeoir yet?
Yes.
Please tell me. Okay. Because I have. Yes, I was sort of semi off the grid, but I was attempting not to stare at my phone for the past 11 days. Right. So I did miss a few things. So I'm hoping this is what I think it is.
Dudeoir Photography, and this one female photographer, I would call her an artist, featured one gentleman, and I give her and him so much credit for the fact that they did not choose a traditional, pretty boy body type. I mean, this is shall we call him voluptuous, bearded, tattooed, hairy dude.
Sounds that like is my type of guy.
Posing with American flags and cowboy hats and nothing else. And just, it's hysterical. But I mean, her point is, if you got it, flaunt it. And, take these pictures. And Meg, you've got the links, and it's an extremely charming photo spread. But I would encourage any guy, no matter what you're into, hey, pose with your freaking Craftsman tools. Who cares?
No, I am. I love the human body as art. If you're in my home, you're going to notice that the majority of my art is the human figure of some time. So it's really easy to find female nudes.
Sure.
I had to struggle to find male nudes that were not like 70s porn. It was just, I'm like,
why does everyone have a giant mustache?
I swear, I'm not exaggerating. It took me a long time to find beautiful nude male oil paintings. It ended up being a South African artist at a gallery in Paris. Thank God for the internet. So it was the first time I ever wired money anywhere. And I'm like, oh God, I hope this is going where I think it's going. And then I ended up with these beautiful oil paintings.
Cool.
And I've got, my naked male art. I mean, I tried to find naked male art for my garden, and it took forever because everything is little gnomes or cherubs. I don't want a naked baby in my garden. I want a naked dude.
Yeah.
And so it was
Which
really,
kitty porn in consideration and all makes sense.
yeah. And so we're trying to figure out, and so to the fact that, you can, if you look up, nude art, it's 99% women.
Yeah.
And then you're just trying to find,
Until art, yes. Photography in general, I was going to say, thanks Tumblr.
Yeah.
That is where you find the hot, artistic, erotic male nudes.
But Tumblr did not exist 14 years ago
Exactly,
when I was searching for this for my house.
yes.
I bet it, like I said, I finally found it on the internet, and I'm sure that it's more available. And when this artist, the photographer, and these guys are doing this, they're explaining that you can be sexy in a lot of different shapes and sizes, just like women can be sexy in a lot of different shapes and sizes. I mean, it's not as upfront in the media, but guys have just as many pressures to look a certain way, act a certain way, do some stuff.
Yeah.
That, be a certain way that women do. That's just as harmful to both sexes.
Oh, for sure. Well, the things that are the thing that's so great about this particular photo spread is this guy just fucking owns it. It's just great, and so check it out. We'll post that up. Okay, this is one of those you can't make it up kind of stories, and this one comes to us via Turkey. Okay. So this dude gets arrested and sent to the hospital for an x-ray exam because they believe he has stolen jewelry in his butt. And he did. So there were rings and necklaces and all of this kind of stuff. But here's the thing. The victim of the crime, the jewelry that they recovered happened to belong to the family of the guy that was the x-ray technician. This guy was guilty, is now suspected in a string of robberies, and it just happened to be the x-ray tech's family jewels up the patient's ass. I mean, how about that?
It makes identification quite easy.
Don't you think?
That looks,
Hey!
Would you really be able to recognize family heirlooms in an x-ray
Well,
somebody's
once they got him
ass?
out. Okay. Once they came out.
Good, because I think there would be some sort of Hippocratic conflict of interest.
Maybe there were initials on it or something.
True. I guess I don't know. I'll call my x-ray tech friend and see how much detail you could really get.
Yeah. But I just could not believe that. I mean, and this guy was suspected, like I said, in a string of such robberies. So this guy's family just happened to be one. I just thought that was absolutely hysterical.
Don't put things up your butt that aren't made to go up your butt.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that would be one of the main themes of the show. Is it just only certain things up your ass?
Orifices are not pockets.
Yes. You're very correct. They are not storage devices.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that. Normally, when we head to the southern portion of the United States, we find ourselves in Florida for things like this. However, this time we are in Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah. Waffle House. Anybody ever been to one?
Oh, yeah. You got to go to a Waffle House.
Are they great?
They really are great. It's a total greasy spoon. It's exactly what you think it is, and it's exactly what you want when you're on a road trip or something like that. Do you know that FEMA has a Waffle House quotient?
Really?
Yes. What happens is that if the Waffle House is like in full after a disaster, after weather or something, if the Waffle House is full operational, it's like code green. If the Waffle House is on a limited menu, it's like a code yellow, and if the Waffle House is out of business, it's like a code red.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is hysterical.
They have a Waffle House. That's how they go about that. Because they get up and running. I mean, it's a limited menu. They know exactly what they have. It's complete. Yeah, you got to go.
Okay.
But it just, there's etiquette. You just get in line. You take the next available spots. Don't go in a big group. Sit down, eat, get the hell out.
Well, then I'm guessing that on the list of Waffle House, protocol that you just outlined for us, getting out of your car butt naked and walking up and smushing your junk up against the window and trying to enter is probably not on the list.
Nope.
No?
Nowhere in these in all the different ways you can get hash browns is it say with genitals.
Okay,
Nope.
well, 36-year-old Bashir Rashid arrested June 7th after he drove his BMW to the Waffle House in Sandy Springs, Georgia.
Okay.
A restaurant employee, he was stroking his penis before rubbing it up against the window. A restaurant employee called 911 to explain the situation. Let me quote this. This is Waffle House. This is from the 911 transcript, not redacted by the FBI, I might add. A gentleman just got out of his car and is naked standing in front of my door. He just peed on my door and now he's walking inside. Sir, you cannot come in here, to the man. Now, another guy who was so grossed out by this, named Derwin Rogers, couldn't eat, so he decided to what? Videotape. Yes, he did. And he began to live stream the incident onto his Facebook page. And
that's exactly why they invented Facebook Live. There we go.
There you go. It's just for such things. And, why wait for TV news, for God's sake? 5 p.m. is days away, right? So he was arrested, and some of the other customer mused, what did he think he was going to achieve here? He didn't have pockets or a wallet with him, so he's being evaluated at a mental hospital, and he's been charged with disorderly
Did they x-ray and see what he had stuffed up his ass? Because that could have been where his wallet was.
Well, that's a very good point, Colleen. As usual, you point out those things.
Yeah, I would have. What I want to know is who is the poor brand new employee at Waffle House that got to go out and clean the window?
Ew.
Because it went to the
it's squeegee time. It's squeegee time.
It went to the newbie employee.
Yeah, lowest on the totem pole.
Uh-huh.
All right, you go clean the dick window.
It sounds like you've had experience with this, Megan.
No,
Not
actually, no, not specifically that. Never any dicks in a window.
No, when we moved into some store locations before we got into them, one of them used to be auto parts thing, and the bathroom there was actually so vile I wouldn't let anybody else clean it. So I actually went home, got clothing that I could dispose of later, masked up, gloved up, and went in there with a putty knife and bleach.
Ew.
And had to clean the bathroom.
Can I just ask?
Yeah.
I mean, auto shops and auto part places are notorious for just bathrooms that are so disgusting. These people don't live there. What is it about those environments that make bathrooms so gross? Do they just fling poop like gorillas or what?
Yeah, it was more like hardened layers of urine.
Ew.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I'm like, I don't have a penis. I've never aimed one. I don't know, but I can't truly imagine that it's that difficult to aim. I really can't,
Especially during business hours when theoretically you're not drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I wonder if they always have so much grease on their hands that they try the hands-free kind of action.
Megan, that's a really good theory.
Yeah. Well, all I know is that I just went. I took a lot. I said I can't ask anybody else to do this.
That's really cool.
It was even worse in the bathroom of one of our old St. Paul stores, where somehow we were on the lower level, but there'd been a lot of construction work up top and a lot of dirt it was a really old building. I had to take a small garden trowel, and it wasn't crap. It was just dirt and debris and construction debris had gone into the toilet.
Ugh. And
it just was dirt. And I'm like, once again, oh God, I can't let anybody else do this. It was just, went home, got clothing I could dispose of, and I did, and then just went in and cleaned it all up. Because I just, everybody knows this. I'm not willing to, ask someone to do something that I'm not willing to some extent do myself unless I'm physically not able. If I'm too short and I can't reach it, I'll ask Michael to get something. But sometimes I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool, boss. In lamenting the void of penis art or male-themed art, anyway, Colleen, I did find something for you.
Oh, okay.
Here, this is interesting. You may remember a few months ago we talked about Vivienne Westwood putting the penis necklaces on the models and the pictures of them, and they were
Beautiful,
big.
yeah.
And they were actually kind of cool looking. And another designer named Rick Owens sent his models, and these are guys, down the runway in basically cloaks that had windows for the junk, okay?
Okay.
And the latest one is a designer named Rolf Simons, and this was a coat, and it's a Robert Mapplethorpe photo of an erect penis on the back. Okay, so the jacket was on the spring lines, and this is over in Florence. So it shows a picture of the model, and the front of the jacket looks, and he's a typical, willowy little twink of a male model, whatever. And the back has this, oh my God, this picture of this guy with this boner. And it's black and white, and it's got some effects and whatever. That's a funky looking penis. I mean, it almost looks like a drill, like a spirally. It's kind of freaky, scary, weird. And the jacket is pink with a penis on the back. I don't know. It's very confusing to me in every aspect, but we do have a picture of it, and we'll put it up.
Yeah, it is.
Have you seen it?
Hideous.
Isn't that a freaky looking dick?
It is.
I don't mind interesting. I mean, I understand the concept of a runway show is that this is sort of an artist thing. It's a big thing. It's not like you wear the majority of the clothes that goes down a runway. And I've seen a couple of some of the male shows that are coming out later. I'm like, some of the stuff looks like they're. Are they going to be? Is it for the new Star Wars movies? I've seen a lot of draped stuff. I've seen tight pants. I'm seeing multiple wrapped leather belts. I don't know too many guys that want that many accessories. You know what I mean? It's there's way too much stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, I think
but
it's
pink with the black and white,
and a huge penis on the
Okay.
back. Yeah. Oh, so wrong in so many ways. And like Meg said, I mean, that thing creeped me out. That picture, it really did.
Yeah,
it really did. And that said, they one of the great mysteries, not unlike magician societies refuse to reveal, what really goes on in illusions. They refuse to explain how the craziness of the runway, what the disconnect or the connection is between what actually goes into stores. Like, what is the thing? We know it's an exaggeration that goes out there, but it has to be somehow linked to their line. Does anybody know?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
It probably just color and texture. That would probably be it. I mean, I'm not really a clothes person. I mean, I wear jeans and t-shirts almost every day of the year because it's way too much work to do other things. And I don't have to because I don't know whether or not I'm going to be sitting at my desk, writing a memo or taking out the garbage. So I don't. You have to dress for the taking out the garbage because you can do that and you can write a memo in it. But it's really hard if I was to be wearing some sort of suit. Or pantsuit or something.
Oh God,
like that.
that would be weird. Just the thought of you coming in your little power suit.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes, so hello, I'm ready to run the company. I'd be like, who are you?
What have you done with Colleen?
Yeah.
Cat people in the room. There's cat wine now. No joke. Have you heard about this?
I have.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Apollo Peak Wine Company. It's like a tea. It's organic catnip and water and colored. So they have Pinot Meow and Moscato. And it's
So they're flavoring the wine with catnip?
It's for cats.
Oh, it's for
so the
cats.
cats can have a glass of wine with you.
Well, that's good. I was wondering. So it is just like catnip infused water, essentially, because I know they can't have grapes. So
No.
I would imagine that even grape juice, non-fermented, boozy kind would not be
Or
good
alcohol.
for them.
No.
Yeah, okay. I'm very confused there for a moment.
No, and this is a guy out of, I believe it's Denver, that came up with this. And there was already a company out there, Nyan Nyan Nouveau, which was from Japan, but that one was made from grapes, which can be toxic. But this guy, the Moscato and Pinot Meow, apparently beets are in it, and those are non-toxic. It's been cleared by
He
vets.
was so high. That's my guess.
Oh, the guy in Denver?
Yes.
Yeah.
He went down to the local legal dispensary. And was like, oh man, I got a great idea. Oh, call it Pinot Meow.
Honestly, though,
That does sound like something that would come out of a stoner. Yeah.
my cats are so insane that if there really was like booze for cats and I could get them to mellow down, I probably
Right.
Or pot. Well, yeah.
Well, assuming you have to get the right level because, they
yeah.
could be angry drunks.
Oh yeah.
And then
And now your leather chairs are Swiss cheese. That's funny. How are we over there?
Oh, we're doing okay.
Okay.
No, the cats. Actually, I had first time I ever had house sitters. Over at the
Oh,
house.
while you were
The cat-
gone?
While I was
Yep.
gone, and the cats did really well. And I knew they weren't too mad because I didn't. Only once did I get a call from the alarm company saying the glass break went off because the cats knocked down something and made some noise.
Oh, okay.
And I know damn well if there wasn't anyone in that house, I probably would have gotten a call every 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. How old are they now? Because they're still pretty
A
kittenish.
little over a year.
Okay,
Oh,
so yeah, we're still kitten
they
phase.
are insane.
Busy.
Oh, that's why I like my old boy. He just sleeps all day.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
There is something to be said for when they mellow out, isn't there? Kind of like my dog that's licking Colleen's toes down
Yep.
there.
Yep.
He's nice and past the puppy stage now. Some Charlie Sheen news.
Okay.
You know, he has become so repugnant to me in so very many ways. He just did an interview with Piers Morgan. A lot of Piers Morgan stuff has been popping up in the feeds that I monitor for the show. Last week it was a Kim Cattrall story. This week we're talking to Charlie Sheen. And basically, he says straight out that he has never transmitted the disease. And even though he may or may not have told them that he had it. So he's...
Well, how would he know?
Well, because he knows everything, because he's such, he's him.
Okay.
That was my first reaction, but I could only assume that were someone really rich to give you HIV,
Yeah.
the rich person would hear all about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there is. Okay, you have to admit that, that would go through there.
But he's lucky he didn't, though, because I know I remember when we first started talking about Charlie, from the sounds of it, he was using lambskin condoms. And
those are porous.
Yeah, and that was his thing, is like, well, I always use protection. But if you were using lambskin condoms, those do not protect against STDs.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So it was really a game of Russian roulette he was playing there.
Well, here's a quote from him. He said, "The only couple of times I didn't tell somebody was because the last 25 times I did tell someone, they used it against me, and they used my medical condition for their own folly and financial gain. And the amount of despicable charlatans that I thought were allies and turned against me, they were coming out of the woodwork, and it was crazy." Which, probably did happen, but ew.
It's definitely a tough situation, because in some ways it is not, it would be his and his partner's business, not the public as a whole. It's not their business. But once you're a celebrity, how can you, pass along that information to a partner without I guess the easy answer would be sleep with more ethical people, but I don't know that Charlie Sheen would be a good judge of ethics.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So
That's just a catch-22.
Yeah, would you have to have like some sort of lawyers nearby that had like a contract saying I'm
Yeah.
not going to talk about it?
honestly,
Yeah.
he would have to do some sort of silence, gag order contract.
Correct. Before you had sex with anyone, if you didn't know anyone to talk about it, I bet you could. I mean, yeah.
Years ago, but closer to the beginning of the Great Northern Sex Cast, you remember we talked about the consent app? Where it on your phone, so you could right there videotape whatever and have edit. I don't think that's an entirely bad idea.
No, especially if you're, if you really truly are just, there are plenty of folks, if you're swiping right or left or whatever the hell it is or this or that, and you get to some point, mutually saying, yeah, we both agree to this, would probably not be a bad idea.
And that's not as big of a buzzkill as having to really stop and do something with a signature and, and plus videotape, it's like, there's a lot more that you can tell about a moment.
The problem is specifically Charlie Sheen's case is that it wouldn't be legally binding.
Yeah.
So they could say on tape, "Oh, sure, I won't tell anyone," and then turn around and say, "Hey, TMZ, how much money are you going to give me for this story?"
Yeah. Well, I bet you though, constructed by the right lawyers.
That's true. Very specific script.
Yeah. And you have to push certain buttons and say, I'm pushing yes, I could be done. I like it. I think it's a smart thing. If I ever become obscenely famous, I think I would definitely go that route. This is an interesting story, you guys, in a lot of different ways. There's a young man, he's 21. His name is Jay Franzoni. He's a gay gentleman, and he's abstaining from having sex in order to campaign against the 12-month ban of blood donations from gay men. So current legislation by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration states that any gay and bisexual men can only donate blood if they refrain from sex intercourse, specifically for 12 months. And that's been heavily criticized by different activists, and they're saying that with all the things that have advanced in many years since that went into effect, that it's no longer good. And he's doing this, obviously, to highlight the need for the tragedy in Orlando. And he said, the hardest part about being abstinent is laying next to my boyfriend and being like, "Night, babe, just going to sleep." But yeah, he's trying to get a conversation started, which I thought was cool.
No, it really has to do more with behavior than who you're having sex with. I mean, if you can, I mean, I traveled to where there's Zika, so that shuts me out for like 4 months. And I've been to other places and traveled to where there's malaria, and that shuts you out for a year. And for things, but I mean, if you've ever had, there's ways of checking now. At different things, and you're really shutting out a lot of folks that want to donate blood.
Well, everything it all gets tested anyways. Mm-hmm. So I think the idea that it's hard to say. I guess I don't know statistics. Overall, I think the idea that gay men are statistically more likely to have HIV is no longer accurate the way it was when HIV first started. The plague that, practically wiped out a generation, orientation genocide. But so that's no longer, it is outdated, and they test everything for HIV.
Yeah.
So it's getting tested anyways.
Yeah. No, I think this is, it made news. And I think that, being Pride weekend, this is the kind of thing, I think he can really call some good attention to it, I like stuff like this. This guy's making an actual sacrifice. Can I just tell you guys one of my pet peeves here? Okay. You know how people will say, well, I'm going to sail around the world for cancer. Those kind of quests have always bugged me because it's like you're getting to sail around the world. And because you slapped cancer on it, you're getting sponsors, you're getting whatever. I've always found that sort of thing to be just disingenuous. This guy's giving up something huge for a whole year, right? And he's not on a trip. He's not doing any great adventure that he's going to rest on the laurels or get to talk about or write magazine articles about. He's not getting laid for a year because he believes. And I think that's amazing.
That is a personal sacrifice.
It is.
Going through there.
Sorry, that's always been a pet peeve.
You got to testify with your
testicles.
Put your money where your mouth will not be for the next year. Oh, I don't know though. Could they still do oral? He should look into that.
Yes, because it said intercourse.
Okay.
I read you part of the statute.
Blowjobs ahoy then. Something.
For sure. Guys, I thought this was interesting. This has long been talked about, at least around water coolers and anecdotally, but I found an article that was pretty interesting about yoga and as a benefit to your sex life, and there was some information that I hadn't seen before. Okay. So I thought we could share it. So I cannot pronounce these things, so I'm going to read the English description of them because seated forward bending. These are the best ones, okay? The plow, the cobra, and it says these can help release testosterone faster in men and strengthen the genitalia. Good. They also can reduce cortisol in your body, less stress, better sleep, and all of that kind of stuff. Get the love hormone, the oxytocin going. And they say the breathing exercises are really critical to all of this, but those are the best ones. They talked about global research. More than 100 men and women aged 20 to 60 did a 12-week yoga camp as part of a study. And they did questionnaires about sexual satisfaction and the scores in all areas, starting with arousal, satisfaction, performance, confidence, ejaculatory control, and orgasm significantly improved after yoga practice. How about that?
Let's see. Better breathing, better flexibility. Yeah, this would probably pretty much make better sex, wouldn't you think?
There's no downside here. You know?
Just a downward dog.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yep.
Every week there's a day or so where I think of you and I'm like, I need a little Megan today.
Yeah,
I do.
No, I can't imagine that. Because any sort of exercise is going to do that, but the yoga is going to add flexibility, and it adds the breathing. You can.
And yoga positions already sound like sex positions.
They really do.
So I could see a real good tie-in between the two.
Yeah, I think I'm all about that. So I thought I'd share that with our audience. Okay. I almost cracked up when I saw this headline. I'm like, really? Like teen boy, the survey says a new study that most teen boys think porn is real. Like they're synonymous. Teen boys, porn, hiding the Playboys, that whole thing. This was, when I clicked the link, it was in Teen Vogue. It's not that I regularly read Teen Vogue, but the headline definitely caught me.
Sure.
Yeah, I know, right? So this was a new study. 53% of teen boys and 39% of teen girls think the sex acts they see in porn are realistic. And this was a survey done of 1,000 people from age 11 to 16 in the UK and 74 more from 11 to 16 who went onto a forum that was associated with the survey to answer even more different things. And so it's an interesting article. The link is there. We'll put it up on the page, but it talks about the real problem being lack of sex ed, which is Colleen's mantra.
Yeah, I was supposed to say it's a lack of sex education, a lack of. I'm pretty sure that if you only watch NASCAR races, you might think that that's the only way people drive. You know,
Right.
So you've got that, or you're just going through there. But yeah, a couple of clicks and you can watch almost anything on the internet. And if you
Ex-hamster.
yeah. And if you think that it's not unrealistic that's what what folks think, they're in for quite a rude awakening.
Yeah. Well,
And hopefully we go through, but if parents need to talk to them and go, by the way, when you're searching for porn, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Right. I guess like
add
you
that
said,
in there. Yeah.
that's all they know. That's where they're getting their information.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm assuming they realized you look at the Playboy, you're like, are boobs supposed to be that big? Because I remember looking at a Playboy when I was like 10 or 11 and going, huh?
Or you watch the TV show Friends and you're like, there's not a single black person in the entire state of New York.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. There were a lot of times as a kid I would just go, but where are the it was not something that I ever verbalized to my parents, but I remember just watching stuff going, where there are different. I know there are different people out there. I see them like at school or here or there or stuff like that. And I'm assuming that So if you're only going to get your sex from an adult movie, you're gonna in for a rude awakening.
Oh, I wanted to mention you missed. I gave a little review. I watched the Sex Factor porn star show.
Yes.
I watched the first episode. But tying back to the education, I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't mention last time the very first thing they did. The contestants came in, they introduced them, and then before the parties, before the sex, before anything else, the first thing they showed them do was go to a clinic and get tested.
Oh.
And I thought that was really pretty cool. And I wanted to bring that up because I was like, good on you. It's porn that's a little more responsible.
That's cool. Well, even Jessica Drake, when I had the pleasure to sit down and talk with her, one of the things that she said, and that is a woman that has no regrets about porn, but the only thing that she wishes were different is that the unrealistic presentation of how much prep goes into the scenes that we actually see. And she did talk about that. And this kind of walks right into it. And this article wrapped up by talking about they need to educate kids not only about birth control, but consent and how to negotiate that consent and what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
Which I thought
and
was
not every girl likes choking or a face
having
full
their
of
head
semen.
shoved down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The head grabbing thing is really pet peeve of mine. So this 48-year-old California Pilates instructor, it's just really wants to talk about how great her open marriage is, and it makes her a better mother. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
She calls herself part of the ethical non-monogamy community, which is not unlike our swinging group here in Minnesota, which we've talked to. And they say sleeping with others improves their own sex life. And Gracie and Oz are their names. Gracie says that she's a better parent because of the sex, because she has more energy. And I love this quote: domestic life can get boring. The downside of monogamy is monotony. So she refuses to give it up, even if, quote, her children were to ask her to. Thoughts?
But I don't think they would really.
Mom, would you please stop dicking around with other guys?
Right.
I don't hear that over Cheerios.
No. I don't really think. What made her just throw that out into the? What was the context of the interview?
It was a story about the lifestyle and the ethical non-monogamy.
Oh, okay,
yeah, and so she mentioned, it was just part of her telling her story. Really,
I think she, most likely the kids are just gonna know. Well, yeah, that's what mom does. Just like moms does. Or dad or this or that is going through their family. They're gonna be having conversations. She threw that in there just for fun.
probably.
She just was going through
But
last statement and stuff
we
like
never
that.
asked. We never really got. I mean, I think my impression from the swingers that we've discussed here on the show or talked to, interviewed, whatnot, is that their kids are still too little. But I'd love to hear what the plan is for. At some point, they're going to start figuring stuff out, and what's the transition period?
Well, yes, I mean, but this is not necessarily happening in their house.
Oh, it is too. they have parties there and they do ship the
Well,
kids
right.
off.
I mean, like when Mrs. Sin has a party, if she had kids, I imagine they would perhaps stay at a friend's house. I
True.
can't
Friend's
imagine
house,
they're
yeah.
there. I mean, monogamous parents aren't necessarily talking to their kids about their sex life, so I don't know why non-monogamous would need to either, assuming that, don't have sex in front of the kids.
Probably
And it's
a good
not
rule to
something
follow.
that would end up talking about. You know what I mean?
But Colleen, don't you think, though, from the several times and the different sets of swingers that you and I and those of us in the cast here have spoken to, that it would at some point, you're the only parent in the room, so I'm asking you, it would at some point get kind of hard to completely conceal or not?
I don't know what you mean, but like I said, I don't think you're going to completely conceal your sex life, but you're going to probably answer questions in an age-appropriate manner, just like any parent should. Not that they do, answer questions in a truthful and scientific and age-appropriate, manner. There's a lot of different things that sort of come up in conversation. If I happen to, as a parent, where I see something on television or I read an article or this or that, and I ship it off to my kid and say, we can talk about this face to face, or you can read about it here where I think it's appropriate, and then ask me a few questions, and then I bug her and say, what do you think about this? And I ask a question or two just so I know that she read something, and I'm assuming that that whatever you were doing, whatever parenting you're doing, if you're just keeping the information age appropriate and relevant, that it just works out the same way. It doesn't make any difference what the relationship is.
Yeah, although I think there's a huge difference too between like exactly what her lifestyle is, because I think there is swinging, which is you with consent, maybe together or watching each other or whatever, you go out and seek pleasure outside of your marriage, which is different than say we're in a polyamorous relationship where this third person is living with you.
Yeah.
That definitely would, who is this to me, that I could see conversations happening. And
that's going to be a person to person thing more so.
and that I could see actually beneficial. I've talked to my roommate before where she's like, I just wish sometimes we could like live in the days where it was literally a big village and I just had a group of people and we all lived together and maybe, we all had sex or whatever. That doesn't even matter. But like the idea of this hippie commune is now looked down on. But I mean, having a group of people to raise your children, that I think we've lost something in losing that. The whole it takes a village.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the Showtime did a show called Polyamory, and they had, I don't know, 2 or 3 seasons, and it's been a long time. They haven't come back with another season yet that I can find. I got to tell you, that looks so much more complicated than the swinging lifestyle, though.
Yes.
Because I watched 2 seasons of it. It was kind of like a train wreck I couldn't turn away from because, it's very outside the box for a lot of people, and, you see the conflicts that arose, and I'm like, yeah, how can you avoid that shit? I mean, so I don't know. I think it would be really hard because at the end of the day, the human jealousy thing rears its head.
It's getting more and more popular, though.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that you're capable of loving more than one person.
Yeah.
Deeply. I don't really, there's too many humans in the world to, I'm too jealous. I'm saying, other people are capable of doing it, but I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility. And I do know folks that are in very successful polyamorous relationships. Some of them, the folks live in other states, and so there's a limited amount of time, and they and that's going on there, but they care for each other deeply. Other folks are closer by. Some live in separate houses. Some live the same house, but they've been going on for years, and they just have a mutual level of respect and communication that I think is just far more evolved than mine.
Yeah,
and you need that in any relationship.
But
really.
I mean, I'm just saying,
So,
certainly far more if you're doing that. And I'm like, if you can find someone whose brain works the way your brain does, that is very special. And if you find 2 people, wow,
yeah.
I mean, I just and it works out. And I don't. I think the human, capacity for love is, in fact, it just grows. You just make more. I know a lot of folks are
Can't
always
run out.
Yeah,
right?
you can't run out of that. People are like, well, how? Well, I like my second kid. Is you can like your kids differently, or you can love your kids differently, but there's always more love.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people freak out over having multiple kids or this or that or going through. They're like, no, there's always room.
I was worried about a second dog.
Mm-hmm.
Worked out okay.
Yeah, the thing is that it just works. It really is. I think that's one of the things that is just amazing about our brains. Is that we can, is that we do have the capacity for that.
But you know what makes me laugh about you, Colleen,
Mm-hmm.
is that you can have, and you have a tremendously fair and open mind. And I that's one of my favorite things about you. But I love how you always pre-qualify a conversation on this particular topic by saying, yeah, I don't personally share, but I can see how.
Yeah.
Just in case the guy is listening.
No. I am not. Look, because I don't even share my home. I have my space. I am a bad sharer. I don't like to share my dinner. I don't like to share my dessert. I don't share well.
Oh, that's funny.
I don't.
At least you know that.
I
Well,
know
yeah.
this. I know this.
Self-aware.
I want things the way that I want things. I was never roommates with any of my friends because I want them to be my friends.
Oh, right. Okay.
I know these things about me. I don't share well.
Good for you.
I give well, but I don't share well. You need something, I'll give it to this or whatever going there. But there's one of my biggest, okay, if I want dessert, I'll get my own goddamn dessert. Brad will order dessert. They will bring an extra fork. And I look at him and said, if I wanted it, I would have gotten one.
Yeah.
It drives me insane, assuming, and I have to admit, there's a little bit of sexism there. Like the woman's not going to order her own damn dessert.
Yeah.
And the same thing what happens is that a lot of times I will order a piece of prime rib the size of my freaking head. And my guy will order a salad. And then different people bring the food to the table.
Sure.
They put the freaking salad in front of him like, put that damn cow over here.
That's so funny.
But no, I don't share well. I know this. I know this very well.
Oh God. Well, that reminds me of my dear departed mother. Her whole thing was, they'll ask you if you want X, Y, or Z, and she'll like, oh, I'll just have a bite of yours. And I finally, like, in sometime in my 40s, I turned around and I said, here's the deal: there is no available bites for you. So if you fucking want this, you're getting your own. Like that is mine. I'm, whatever. And it was just on certain things at certain, but that was her MO. It's like I'll just have, but no, actually, no, we'll be getting two. I have a small streak of that myself.
I just learned that a long time ago. I just went, no, you could have an apartment down in Dinkytown and live in a rat's nest, or you could just take care of your parents' house while they move away, to New Jersey. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just stay at the house because I want things the way that I want them. I know me.
Well,
and that's all there is to it.
Hey, a lot of people do years of meditation and many seminars to get to that point. So good on you.
Lots of sex building yoga to get to that
Right?
level of awareness.
I wrote a blog, and I know that this has come up in the shows because I had specific recollections of you, Michael, and Colleen all at one point or another when something's come up in conversation. You all would rattle a reference off to this sort of thing as though everybody understands it. And then when I read this blog, I'm like, oh my God, that's what they've been talking about.
Okay.
Electrosex, electrified sex toys, and the idea of the different things. This is funny. I like this person because she viewed it the way that I did. Like, oh my God, let's run an electrical current through this. Wow. But then she goes through and starts describing all the different things from butt plugs, electrified cock rings, masturbatory sleeves, blah, blah, all these things. And the point of the whole article is how this is really seriously going mainstream. And I just wanted to get you guys your take from the retail level.
Oh, it is. We do carry several items. It's still a growing product line in our area. So we've got it on our online only section, several pieces in the Minnesota website, and then our partner website has a lot more. But there are some. But really, there's the cock rings, there's dildos, there's anal plugs, there's external stimulation, there's the pads, and we're not talking about electrocution here. We're talking about a gentle electrical stimulation. A lot of it, some of it's even used. There was a item that didn't do as well for us because I don't know if it was packaged well or this or that. For use,
It looked really weird.
and
It was hard to
it was hard to
explain.
explain, but it was used for incontinence and Kegels and contractions. So I mean, it's there's science behind this.
Yeah, I mean, they invented it for a medical reason, and then we're like, whoa, this gives crazy orgasms.
Well, this article talks about how it's making its way out of being a subset of BDSM and into the mainstream.
Yeah. And it really is. It just, the packaging has changed everything about this. There are self-contained battery-operated devices now, not ones that are attached to wires in a battery pack. But there's, little fingertip, gloves. There's a whole bunch of different things. I glanced at this and then I meant to write down a couple of names, company names, and my brain's just blanking. But if you go to the website, you look under eSTEM, E-STIM, you'll see the brands and stuff that that we have, and we're pretty much, when we get something in, it's out the door fairly quickly.
What would you guys point a dabbler to? Someone that's brand new that's kind of curious.
Probably the real simple. You just got. There's several kits. There's a male kit and a female kit, and there's got some electro pads and a few things. And you can start with nipple stimulation, or there's a glove that you can use to sort of gently.
I think the glove would really be the best for real, true beginners.
And we've got that on the. I know I've got that on the site. They do have. I wish I could remember the name. I'm totally going to blank on it. So I will just, like I said, it's online, and the company that it would go through there, it's just, and they're all adjustable. It's not just, you can start off, and it's not going to go zap. This is not what we're talking about, but just a gentle electrical current. And it's just, it's not that much different than, to some extent, having a vibrator up really, really high. If we want to, depending on where you've got it located.
And it is, I mean, it's a sensation thing. So I can see it coming out of the BDSM, because it's not necessarily something where you need to be dominant or submissive in this. I mean, it's just sensation play.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's definitely gaining more acceptance overall.
Yeah. If you've ever had a muscle injury and they've given you a TENS machine.
I have one.
That's essentially, I mean, we have a shock
therapy
kit that we do usually often carry in stores that, I mean, God, I think your mom, Marlene, took it and just strapped it onto her back. You know what I mean? It's essentially what it is.
Yes. It was hilarious. One day I couldn't, because there's a meeting that I can only handle so many meetings. So I've got mine on Tuesdays, and my mom has hers on Thursdays, and never the twain shall meet. And but I'm like, what the hell is going on? And sometimes, like, I don't really want to know what they're explaining to my mother right now. It's just very, very funny.
That one was awesome. I'm surprised you couldn't hear it, because we all took turns like shocking each
know,
other. We're sitting around the table.
I went to get a cup of coffee, and I went by and said, okay. And I know, but it was funny, because I was just giggling. They were gotten some samples and this and that, and everyone had to know what was going on. Okay. It was hilarious.
Okay, just a quick note to the newbies to the show, or for people who didn't quite catch exactly what's going on. Fantasy Gifts is a family-started business begun by Colleen's mother and father in the late 70s. So Colleen's mom, Marlene, is in her mid-70s and working actively there. Oh, yeah. So, this is everybody showing and explaining new product to Marlene, which cracks me up. And this ain't your normal cube farm. Like you said, you're shocking each other and trying out God knows what at work. So if anybody's looking for a job, resumes accepted always. Guys, I found so much like amazing stuff this week that we're not going to get to all of it, which is fine. A lot of it will hold until next week. But there is one last thing.
Oh, yeah, sex isn't going to go anywhere.
Nope. No. One thing that we've got to get to, because at the Cannes Lion Festival right now, this is where a lot of the ad execs and everything else are gathered over, in France at the moment. And there's all these seminars, and it's really sort of the future of digital media entertainment and things like this. Okay, so Cindy Gallop, I don't think she's poll related, but she is the founder of social sex site Make Love Not Porn. The notes, this article regarding the panel that she did regarding sex and advertising and how we need to basically wake the fuck up. She challenges everybody to film themselves having sex this week during the festival, which I found to be hysterical. But she really goes through talking about how we are not doing a good job. Every time any advertiser does anything that puts realistic sex into it, not just the unrealistic sex, which people are saying body image wise is bad. She's like, they get crucified. Now there's a ragu commercial that you guys may remember. And Meg, in the link, we can put this on the Facebook. Do you remember this? The kid comes home from school and all they show is a bedroom door and him opening it and his face. And you know that he's seeing his parents have sex. So it ends up with them, the family eating spaghetti, and it's something like a long day of childhood needs comfort food or something like that. And it's freaking hilarious. And she's saying, people, you know, with regard to clients, retailers, anything that we're trying to market to the public, we got to get real about sex. It is an absolute brilliant article and something for the likes of Megan would love.
Well, that's the one thing is that I found, you know, in the past that I can use everything except sex to market my product. I tend to use more humor, whereas everybody else uses sex to market their product.
Yeah.
And it's always been very entertaining. And whenever I tend to, you know, get a little bit more risque in my advertisings, people going completely insane because, you know, if you're selling a car or a cantaloupe, you can pretend you're not, you know, the commercial isn't about sex.
Right.
Yeah. Even though it's very you know, the cantaloupe commercial that's not about sex, where this guy's like, ooh, what soft, juicy melons. I'm fondling these, you know. But it's not about sex.
Oh, God, no. No, listen to this quote from Cindy Gallup, though. She said, the next client brief you work on or the conversation you have with a client, talk about the consumer's sex life. Let's talk about the attitudes towards sex, their behaviors, and introduce it as a completely normal fact of life, literally, to every brand you work on. And, you know, the insight that can provide to advertising and marketing. I thought this was a fascinating article. So, Colleen, check it out. I think you'd love it.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're actually out of time. So we've got a lot of by the numbers articles to do next week. And I've got like 4 different guests that keep changing dates for me. But we'll get some people in. But come see us at Pride. Any final thoughts?
Well, I just want to say that, you know, I'm going to be kind to the companies that sent us a bunch of stuff to give away at the prize wheel. We've got Rabbit Company, Screaming O, Tantus, Wet, California Exotic, Sports Sheets, and We Vibe. They've sent can cozies and pens and prizes and T-shirts and keychains and just a whole bunch of stuff that's logo, some product. A lot of other companies sent whole wall displays. I'm just very excited, or we'll be featuring them in posts this week on social media, so you can sort of see what's going on out there. But we couldn't do it without our vendors, and we're just looking forward to a great weekend.
Awesome. Happy Pride, everybody.
Pride.